What's going on, guys? We got some huge news today that I want to talk about. Lately, we have a lot of brands or a lot of MMA companies building themselves up and competing with the UFC, which I think is great. Me and Brett have talked about this many times. Competition is always good because the UFC was at a point where it was almost a pyramid scheme. They could treat their fighters like trash, pay them like trash, but now these fighters have a lot of opportunity. I mean, a lot of fighters have tried to start a fighters union and failed, but now that there's so many companies that they could go to, it's a huge thing and is really great for the fighters. I mean, Bellator has done a great job building their brand. They have people like Michael Chandler, James Gallagher. They sign a lot of ex-UFC fighters, the legends like Chael Sonnen. A long time ago, they signed Tito Ortiz, Lyoto Machida. So they're doing a good job building a brand and having recognizable faces in it. And then you have ONE FC. I think they're now just ONE, who has lately been building up their brand to be more recognizable in the MMA scene. They signed Demetrius Johnson, which is a huge sign in my opinion, because obviously people considered him the GOAT for a while. I'm still going to be keeping my eye on him. Now I have a reason to go watch ONE FC. They signed Eddie Alvarez, which is a fun fighter. He's chaotic in the cage. He's just really fun to watch. And they have Misha Tate as the vice president. So all familiar names. And they're apparently giving these fighters six-figure deals. So that gives incentive to fighters in the UFC to leave the UFC and go and make more money. I mean, they take a lot of punishment to their head, so why not get paid for it? But the latest brand to be building themselves up is the PFL. If you don't know what the PFL is, it's the Professional Fighting League. So they used to be the World Series of Fighting. They had people like Justin Gaethje in it, Marlon Moraes. They were a pretty good company, but they weren't anything big. So they rebranded themselves about 9 months ago, and now they are bigger than ever. They're huge, and guess what? They just signed a deal with ESPN. So UFC needs to look out because they have another martial arts company to go against. And this is great to me, guys, because I feel like these fighters need this opportunity to get paid for what they do and to also be recognized, because sometimes in the UFC it's so hard to break into that top 10 just because you're too good, and fighters don't want to risk that number next to their name to fight a young stud. So this gives fighters an opportunity to get paid well, show what they're about, and create a legacy for themselves. I don't know. This is just huge news to me. Like me and Brett said a long time ago, competition for the UFC is always good. It's good for the fighters. It's good for the fans. It pushes the UFC to be a better organization, treat their fighters better, pay their fighters better. So, man, I'm not complaining. This is awesome news in my opinion, because I used to love World Series of Fighting, and now we got the PFL on ESPN. Just another mixed martial arts brand to watch. So all good here. What do you guys think in the comments below? I'm interested in your guys' thoughts. Do you think this is it for the UFC? Not too long ago, Brett thought that this might be the death of the UFC because all these brands are nipping at the UFC's heels. Personally, I think the UFC is too big to fail at this point, but I think it's good for everyone. I just think, like I said, I think it's good for the fighters. I think it's good for the UFC in a weird way. I think it makes them have to do better. So, that's good for everybody. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Awesome news in my opinion. But, yeah, I'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good one. Peace.